Oh boy, it's a big day in the US today. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump will meet in Philly for the US presidential debate. It's seen as a crucial moment in the campaign as polls place the candidates in a very tight race.
Face-to-face, historic.
There is an only in America vibe around all this. Anticipation, energy, jeopardy. The circus has rolled into Philadelphia for the mother of all presidential debates.
The candidates will meet face-to-face for the first time.
And it is certainly the case that with the polls so tight and the options so stark, there is a lot riding on the two candidates who will stand here tonight.
How are you feeling?
Kamala Harris has been prepping on the road between campaign rallies. Donald Trump cut this weekend campaigning short for an extensive prep session at his Florida resort, and the rally routine hints at his pitch.
Stupid, stupid people. And we found that out at the debate with Joe. How did that work out?
Of course, we all remember how it worked out. It was the beginning of the end for President Biden, a performance which precipitated Harris's unchallenged rise.
That someone with the temperament
Trump has been here before, many times, unpredictable, blunt.
Because you'd be in jail.
On brand. Harris has had far less of this, but it is perhaps her poise.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
And prosecutorial background that could knock Trump off his stride. But it's not really here in democratic Philadelphia that all this matters. It is instead in the harder to reach, harder to win rural parts of tight states like this.
I'm probably edging towards Trump, just because I've grown up in a rural area and his beliefs more align with my beliefs, I would say.
In small towns like Oxford, just a few gains on key issues from either side could swing Pennsylvania one way or the other.
I know if Kamala gets in, it'll be the same chaos that's been going on for the past 3.5 years.
So has she got any opportunity to change your mind? I mean, could she impress you?
Pretty much made up, but I'm not going to say no.
What does she need to do to make you convinced that she can run the country?
Well, she needs to speak up on what this country needs. And now, when I watched Trump the other night, he shot everybody down and didn't seem like he wanted to do anything for the country.
And so we know just how consequential these debates can be. And tonight, this spin room in Philadelphia will be the very heart of it all, as surrogates from both sides try to claim that their candidate is the winner.
Trump will frame Harris as continuity Biden. Her challenge is to make it all about him before he turns it on her. This race to the presidency will pass through a gauntlet tonight. Mark Stone, Sky News in Philadelphia.
Okay, let's bring in our US analyst, Michael Ware, for this. What's the skinny in your view here, Michael? How do you see both sides tactically approaching this?
Well, mate, as you know, this is one of the most consequential, I think, presidential debates in modern history. You know, when you want to think of Richard Nixon's sweaty lip when he was debating JFK, or whether you want to think about the most recent presidential debate with Joe Biden that ended a campaign.
Yeah.
So, you know, the stakes are pretty high here, and they're going to have two very different tracks to try to target the same audience. Because let's not forget, this entire election is going to come down to the votes of a few tens of thousands of people in 7 states, people who haven't made up their minds, because former President Trump can't win this election just with Trump voters. And Vice President Harris can't win this election just with Biden or even Biden-Harris voters. What they're targeting is that 10% that's still sitting out there that hasn't decided if they're going to vote, and if so, in which way. So President Trump, former President Trump, his team has been urging him not to go on the personal attack, but to focus on policy. At the same time, Harris is doing the opposite. She's going to try and goad President Trump into being President Trump, and he's going to try to tie her like a millstone to the Biden administration.
Okay. Let me ask you this, Michael, as someone who lives there. The state of the nation at the moment, who does that favour right now?
Well, again, it depends on who you ask because, look, technically the economy is going quite well. Jobs figures are going quite well. Inflation is down. It's sub 3%. We're seeing economic growth. So, you know, by the numbers, people should be feeling happy about the economy, but they most definitely not, because where they're forming their opinions on the economy is at the checkout.
Yeah.
When they're buying their groceries or doing that sort of thing. So economy is something where former President Trump definitely has a lead, but then there's issues like women's reproductive rights, and women are going to be vital to this election. Suburban women are going to be vital. So vitriolic personal attacks from President Trump aren't going to help in there. Reproductive rights is going to come up from Vice President Harris, whereas President Trump will respond with immigration. So, look, this is going to be quite a stoush.
Yeah, look, and even the other day, we've already seen the attack lines from Donald Trump too, calling Kamala Harris one of the most left-wing candidates that's ever existed. Now, you had Bernie Sanders the other day saying that she's had to shift her very left-wing positions because he said, and it's along these lines, that she's had to change these positions to be in the White House. So do you think now that she is kind of pro-fracking, where in the past she'd been anti-fracking, a few other things as well, is that something that Donald Trump will prey on today, saying, well, she doesn't actually even believe what she's saying at the moment?
He certainly will. I'm almost guaranteed that he will zero in on what he sees as the vice president's flip-flopping on issues like fracking. But let's not forget, she's never really been a progressive. And for a politician to change their policies to win an election is sort of a definition of the profession.
Yeah.
Because, for example, the vice president could come hard at former President Trump on abortion. He was pro-abortion. Then he was boasting about how he brought in the Supreme Court that took away women's rights to an abortion. And now he's reverted to saying, oh, let's leave this to the states, and even says he's opposed to a Florida vote that's coming up to limit abortions to before 6 weeks of the pregnancy. So she's going to try and nail down President Trump on exactly where he stands on abortion, which is something he doesn't want to answer because he risks them being seen as a flip-flopper too.
All right, Michael Ware, you'll be watching it, I'll be watching it, and millions around the world will be watching it. Look forward to it too. Michael, thank you. You can catch the first presidential debate between Harris and Trump. It is 11 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time, and it will be right here on Sky, so you don't have to go anywhere.